Hey, my name is Margaret Wong, and I'm an immigration practicing lawyer. And here I'm talking about J-1 visa today.
Our first question is, what is a J-1 visa?
And that's a very good question. J-1 visa is a working visa. As I said earlier, anytime you have an alphabet in front of it, A, B, C, D, F, G, J, J is a working visa, duration of which could be as short as 2 months, 6 months, to 1.5 years, to 7 years. And for medical doctors, it can last for one more year, which is the eighth year, but that's more difficult eighth year. It's a very specialized visa that allows you to work, and will come as we'll talk more as the questions come in.
So, having that in mind, what kind of jobs and programs can I participate in?
Yes. So J1, it ranges a lot of PhDs, MDs, so doctors, teachers, professional. You could come as an exchange. Basically, you have the student J1, you have a exchange scholar J1. Those are more higher educated. Most universities have J1, like in Cleveland, Case Western have J1s, Cleveland State have J1s. On the other hand, a lot of these major hotels also have J1. Sheraton have their own J1. Hilton have their J1. SeaWorld have their J1. So a lot of these summer places or hotels. So it could be for the training program. It could be for free, like a lot of universities, their collaboration programs with people from the Far East, from the Latino countries, and they don't pay us, but we go back and forth at the exchange. So it range from au pair Js, trainee Js, medical doctor intern Js for the 3 months, a wide range.
Our next question here says, how long does it last and can I extend it?
The duration of the J1 is just like the duration of the F1. It's whenever you come to America, they have the word DS on it. So the I-94 or the ICE locator would say it's a duration of status. Duration of status means that as long as the DS 2019 have that date, like some J1 is 6 months, some is 7 years, but mostly the medical doctors, they're 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, maximum of which is 7. It's just like an H1 where the maximum is 3 years the first term, and then 3 years the second term. So J1 maximum 7 years, but depends on the program. Can I extend it? Definitely you could extend it if the program sponsor say yes.
Our next question here, very good. It says here, can I change my job or program with the J-1 visa?
Yes and no. A lot of countries, because of the treaty in America with America, they would not allow their people to stay. China, India, especially for Indian people who have both PhDs and MDs, those are very, very difficult to get a waiver. So with the most Chinese from mainland China, from Taiwan, the army people is always subject. But aside from the army J, normal, the other type is not subject. Hong Kong Chinese mostly is not subject. But for mainland China, mostly all Chinese are subject on skills list. So if you're subject, you would not be able to change because there are two types of J. One is subject, one is non-subject. Subject J, you cannot change status. In America, you may be able to extend with the same program, but no change of status in America.
The next question we have here is, what is the home country physical presence requirement?
Home country physical presence requirement is a 212E requirement. So anytime your subject is a subject J, you have to go back home for 2 years and to work there. So for example, I'm a Chinese national. I could not go work in QAE and then later say, oh, I went home. You have to be physically present, living and not on vacation in home country for 2 years. So another example, I'm a Canadian. I'm a Chinese who came to America on a J-1. After the Tiananmen Square incident, I went to Canada and became a Canadian citizen. Do I need to go back home to get my 2-year waiver before we come home? That's a difficult case, because once you became a Canadian citizen, you're no longer, China does not allow dual. So you're no longer Chinese, which means that even if you go back home for 2 years, you're no longer in your home country. So that's why a lot of the Chinese in Canada, now they're stuck with a J, that they cannot get the waiver. Physical presence means that you have to go home. But in this one sentence, where is home? A lot of us who have a lot of civil wars, you lose the country, Soviet Union became Russia. So once you lose the country, there's no longer a home. So that's why I love J1s, because it's really an interesting practice. It's a very narrow way. The other beauty of a J1, you technically don't need to spend legal fees. So for example, my OPT expired. I couldn't find a job on CPT. I don't qualify for an O. And I couldn't get an H1 because I missed my April 1st deadline. You could legally get on a J1 visa because they'll allow you another 12 months, 18 months to work here. But if you are Indian or Chinese or something, you better make sure you're not on the skills list, because once you're on the skill list, it takes 9 months to get a waiver. So why get a 1-year J when it takes 9 months to get a waiver? Because in the process of getting a waiver, you became undocumented. So that's why J is an interesting visa.
It says here, is there a waiver for this home country physical presence requirement?
Absolutely, yes. Depends on what country you come from and depends on why you're a subject. If you look at the DS 2019, in the olden days, it's called, now you know, it's been a long time. It's the 66 form, which is the pink. In the olden days, it's the pink form. Now it's a white form. If you look at the lower left-hand corner, they tell you why you're subject. For medical doctors, you're subject. All medical doctors are subject. So another way that's why a lot of medical doctors, they don't want to get on a J, because then they have 4 ways to do waivers for medical doctors. You do a HIPSA location or a MOOP location. Those are the underserved area, like rural. They have a shortage of doctors for certain areas. And each state have their own Department of Health. Some states are easier than the rest, like New Mexico, I shouldn't say easier, but looser. Detroit is tough because they take all the waivers before October 1st. So things, every year, a little bit of these state waiver, what we call the State 30 program. There was a time it's only 20 slots, and then they increased to 40 slots. Now it's 30 slots. That's a J waiver. That's one form. Another form is extreme hardship. It applies to all J1 subject. So even on skills list, but more and more the countries are putting their waiver on their web. If you look at a Chinese subject, they have a big web in the Chinese consulate, in the New York one, not the DC. So the way to do it is you pay the $500 in the data sheet, and then they give you a waiver number. USDOS.gov give you a waiver number. With that waiver number, you give it to the Chinese government. Like Turkey now, it's very, very difficult to get that waiver. It's practically impossible because of the turmoil in the country. So it depends on the country politics. But absolutely, there is a way to waive. A lot of people, they just go home every summer and then add up to 24 months. And then they come back and now they get an H or something like that.
Okay.
You cannot get an H on L if you're subject, but you can still get E visa, O visa, B visa, F visa when you're subject. So bear in mind, it's not like you'll never get another visa if you're subject. There are other visas you can get except the H and an L.
We also would like to know, what is the difference between F1 visa and J1 visa?
Right. Both are all visas to come to America. F is a student visa. You're only allowed to work on campus except with OPT, CPT, or economic hardship work permit. Then you get a social. Then you can work off campus. For J visa, it is a working visa, but you cannot moonlight. So for example, I'm a medical doctor. I did not pass USMLE Part 3. I match on March 12th every year, so now I get a J. J, you could not moonlight. It's employer specific. You could only work in the same hospital, but a O, for the same job, you can also do moonlight. So J is a working visa. You get a social security and get a driver's license. F is not a working visa. You cannot get a social unless you have a separate working visa. But you can also get a driver's license. F is a student visa. J is a working visa with a duration of stay. Both, one is the I-20, one is DS 2019. Both control duration of stay, and both under the ICE locator or under the old I-94 say DS, duration of stay.
So can my family come with me?
Absolutely, yes. As I've said before, a family in American immigration law consists of spouses and children. Before DOMA fell, same-sex spouse could not come because in America it was not recognized. Now it's recognized, so either same-sex or opposite-sex marriage spouse, you could come. That marriage has to be recognized in your home country. Any marriage that's recognized in home country is recognized in America. The spouse and children under 21 could come as a J2. J2 for spouse could apply for separate for work permit, and then you can work after you got the work permit and the social. The children of J1 could not work, but they could go to school. Most universities accept J2 on a reduced tuition, which is very nice, just like an F2.
Now it says here, can I get a green card with a J1 visa?
Yes, definitely. If you're non-subject, you always look at a case. How can I get a green card? I can get it through a perm, through EB-5, through a marriage, through my parents becoming citizen. So the question could be interpreted with the J1 visa, how can I get my green card? As I said earlier, that you have to look at a basis. Number one, is it the I-130, I-140, 526, or 360? Once that's approved, then we look at the 485 or the IB process, which means the DS-260. With that, if you're non-subject, you can switch from a J, a non-immigrant J, to the 485 green card. But if it's subject, then we have to do a waiver. So a lot of times, especially for like the MDs, the PhD MDs, the MBAs and stuff, we got the perm or the I-140 approved. Now we do the waiver. And once the waiver is approved, we switch over to the left and right, so it's balanced.
Thank you for watching our video here with attorney Margaret Wong. My name is Stephanie Ayala. We hope you enjoyed today's topic. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave any questions or comments down below that we can potentially use for future videos. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For more information about our law firm, check out our website at iamwong.com and feel free to schedule a consultation at 216-566-9908. Thank you.